It always happens at the worst time, doesn't it? The whole day you are fine, your brain is quiet, you feel normal. But the second your head hits the pillow, your brain suddenly wakes up like, oh, now? Perfect. Let's think about everything that has ever gone wrong since you were 8. It feels like your mind becomes louder at night, more dramatic, more chaotic. And if you have ever wondered why this happens, why your brain saves all its deepest thoughts for the exact moment you were trying to sleep, you are about to find out. 1. Why your brain gets louder at night. Here's something most people never realize. Your brain doesn't actually get busier at night. Your life just gets quieter. All the noise you deal with during the day, messages, notifications, chores, conversations, work, those distractions act like mental background music. And once that noise disappears, everything you avoided thinking about finally has room to show up. It's like your brain says, cool, everything's quiet. Time to unpack all this stuff you didn't deal with. And you know exactly how it goes. You lie down, and suddenly your mind brings out a playlist of things you haven't thought about in 10 years. That one awkward thing you said in high school, the bill you still haven't paid, a random what if that makes absolutely zero sense, a conversation you might have next week. And if you are like most people, the quiet makes every thought feel bigger than it really is. Here's the deeper reason this happens. During the day, your brain is in what psychologists call a task mode. You are focused outward, doing things, reacting, getting through the day. At night, your brain shifts inward, and when that switch happens, your mind starts doing something completely normal. It starts processing. But because most people were never taught how to think, their brains don't process gently. They create spirals. There's also another layer here. Your brain hates unfinished business. Anything unresolved, emotional, confusing, embarrassing, or stressful gets tagged as unfinished. Your mind stores it, pushes it down, and waits for the first quiet moment to bring it back. And nighttime is the quietest moment you have. But here's the part nobody tells you. You are not overthinking because you are weak or overly emotional. You are overthinking because your brain is trying to protect you. Yep, nighttime overthinking is your brain's attempt to run simulations. What if this happens? What should I do next? What would I say if... It's trying to prepare you. It's trying to control the future. And nighttime feels like the safest time to analyze everything because nothing else is demanding your attention. Let me show you something interesting. Researchers found that when the emotional part of your brain becomes more active and the logical part becomes less active, exactly what happens at night. Your brain becomes more dramatic. Problems feel bigger, small worries feel urgent, even simple choices feel heavier. That's why a tiny issue feels like a disaster at 1 a.m., but the next morning you were like, why was I panicking about that? Here's a real-life example. Think about the last time you had a long day and finally got into bed. Before your brain even lets you breathe, it throws something heavy at you. Maybe a mistake, maybe a conversation, maybe something you have been putting off. You lie there trying to solve it, replay it, fix it, or predict every possible outcome. And the more you try to quiet your brain, the louder it gets. This isn't because your brain hates you. It's because your brain loves patterns. And nighttime overthinking is a pattern your brain has learned. Bedtime equals mental review session. So it repeats it every single night. Here's the good news. Patterns can be changed. And once you understand what your brain is doing, you can interrupt the cycle before it starts. But before we get into how, there's something even more important to understand first. Something about control, something your brain desperately wants at night. 2. The hidden problem. Your brain wants control at the worst time. Why does your brain worry most about things you can't fix at 11 p.m.? Think about it. You worry about the text you haven't replied to, the money problem you can't solve until tomorrow, the way someone said something that bothered you, the meeting that hasn't even happened yet, stuff that requires action. But you can't take action while lying in bed. Your brain obsessively focuses on things you can't control in the moment. Why? Because control is comforting, and nighttime is when you have the least control over anything. You are horizontal, in the dark, tired, vulnerable, and unable to take action. That combination makes your brain feel unsafe, so it tries to solve problems to regain a sense of control. Here's the weird part. Solving problems at night feels productive, but it actually makes you feel more stressed, because instead of solving anything, your brain gets stuck in loops. What if I embarrass myself? What if it doesn't work out? What if I made the wrong decision? What if they're upset with me? Your mind creates imaginary scenarios to try to predict the future. It's not trying to torture you, it's trying to prepare you. But nighttime preparation doesn't work because you're tired and emotionally sensitive. When your brain is tired, it exaggerates everything. Imagine you get a message from your boss that says, "We need to talk tomorrow," during the day. You would shrug and keep moving. At night, suddenly your brain is like, "We need to talk? About what? What did I do? Did I forget something? Did I say something weird? Am I in trouble? Should I update my resume?" Your brain jumps to the worst case scenario because nighttime thinking is emotional thinking, not logical thinking. The part of your brain that solves problems calmly is basically clocked out after 9 p.m., which means the emotional part is driving. And when the emotional part is driving, nothing feels small. Here's the part people misunderstand. You are not overreacting. You are overprocessing. Your brain is scanning for danger. Anything uncertain feels like danger. Anything unfinished feels like danger. Any tiny doubt becomes danger. Your brain wants certainty, safety, and control. And nighttime gives you none of those things. Now, here's where the humor comes in. Your brain doesn't do this quietly. It does it dramatically. It gives you the midnight special, the highlight reel of every uncomfortable moment of your life. Thanks, brain. Amazing timing. But here's something interesting. Experts found that one of the fastest ways to reduce overthinking is to give your brain tiny bits of control during the day. Not over everything, just over something. Because when your brain feels in control during the day, it doesn't freak out as much at night. But control alone isn't enough. There's another reason your brain goes wild when the world gets quiet. And this one might surprise you. 3. Overthinking isn't about problems. It's about emotions. Here's the truth most people avoid. Overthinking is an emotional issue disguised as a thinking issue. Here's the twist. Your brain is trying to think your way out of a feeling. That never works. Your brain is smart, but emotions aren't problems to solve. They are signals. And when you ignore those signals during the day, your brain brings them back at night because night is the first time you're still enough to feel them. Imagine you had a weird moment earlier. Maybe someone snapped at you, or you felt judged, or someone's tone felt off. During the day, you brush it off. You keep going because you're busy. But the feeling doesn't disappear. It just waits. Then at night, your brain whispers, "Hey, remember that moment? Yeah, let's replay it 800 times." It's not replaying it because it wants you to suffer. It's replaying it because the emotion underneath never got addressed. Maybe the emotion was, "I felt disrespected." Maybe it was, "I felt confused." Maybe it was, "I felt not good enough." Maybe it was, "I felt insecure, and I hate that feeling." You don't overthink situations. You overthink emotions you don't want to feel. And here's the wild part. Your brain cannot process emotions while you're suppressing them. So, it tries to process them when you finally stop. At night. Your brain isn't attacking you. It's trying to help you. It's asking you to pay attention to something inside you. Not think about it. Feel it. Understand it. Name it. Let it move through you instead of pushing it down. But feel-first thinking is not something most people were ever taught. Most people were taught to handle it later, and later becomes 1 a.m. Now, here's the breakthrough. If nighttime overthinking is emotionally driven, then the solution isn't to stop thinking. The solution is to manage your emotions before nighttime hits. But before we get to the solutions, there's one more thing we need to address, something that makes nighttime thoughts feel deeper, darker, and more intense. 4. Your brain is different at night, literally. Your nighttime brain is chemically different from your daytime brain. This isn't metaphorical, it's literal. As you get closer to sleep, your brain undergoes changes designed to slow you down, restore your energy, and prepare your body for rest. But those same changes also make you more vulnerable to overthinking. Here's what happens. 1. Your emotional brain becomes more active. Areas associated with emotion light up, while areas associated with logic wind down. This means you feel more intensely, but think less clearly. 2. Your logical reasoning decreases. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for clear thinking, takes a step back. So your brain becomes more reactive and less balanced. 3. Your imagination strengthens. The brain increases internal imagery and creative thinking, fantasizing, visualizing, predicting. These abilities increase at night. Great for dreaming, terrible for spiraling. 4. Fatigue lowers perspective. When you are tired, you can't accurately evaluate the importance of a problem. Everything feels bigger because your brain doesn't have the bandwidth to process things calmly. 5. Threat detection becomes more sensitive. Your brain interprets uncertainty more strongly in the dark. This is evolutionary. Humans were once vulnerable at night, so your brain stays alert, even when no danger exists. This cocktail of emotional intensity, reduced logic, increased imagination, and fatigue creates the perfect environment for overthinking. That's why you notice patterns like thinking of the worst outcome, replaying random memories, imagining social scenarios, feeling judged even when nothing happened, exaggerating mistakes, fixating on unfinished tasks, creating unrealistic predictions. Your nighttime brain isn't thinking, it's dramatizing. And here's the important part. The brain you use at night is not the brain you wake up with. When morning comes, your emotional system quiets down, your logical system powers back up, and everything feels manageable again. That's why problems feel completely different once the sun is up. Understanding this biological shift gives you power. You stop taking nighttime thoughts at face value. You stop assuming they are accurate. You stop believing the worst-case scenarios. You start seeing your nighttime brain for what it is, a tired, emotional, imaginative version of you. 5. How to break the cycle and calm your mind fast. Here are strategies real people use to calm their minds at night, because these strategies work with your brain, not against it. 1. Don't fight the thoughts. Label them. When you fight your thoughts, they fight back. But when you label them, your brain relaxes. For example, that's a worry. That's a memory. That's a prediction. That's an emotion I ignored today. Labeling gives your brain clarity. Clarity reduces fear. 2. Ask your brain one simple question. Does this need to be solved right now? Most nighttime thoughts fail this test instantly. Your brain loves rules. This gives it a rule. Not now. 3. Use the parking lot method. Keep a note by your bed. When a thought feels important, write it down. Tell your brain, I will handle this tomorrow. Your brain stops yelling when it knows you won't forget. 4. Give your brain a job on purpose. Your mind hates being unemployed. Give it something simple. Count backward from 100. Imagine walking through your childhood home. Visualize packing a suitcase. Picture a slow movie scene. When your brain has a task, overthinking loses power. 5. Use the 5% rule. Ask yourself, is this thought 5% true or 95% imagination? Nighttime worries are almost always 95% imagination. Naming the percentage helps your logical brain wake up. 6. Identify the emotion underneath. You are not thinking too much. You are feeling too much. But you are thinking instead of feeling. Ask, what emotion is underneath this thought? Fear, embarrassment, uncertainty, disappointment, anger, insecurity, name it. Once you name the emotion, the thought slows down. 7. Create a nightly emotional unpacking routine. Spend 10 minutes before bed asking, what did I feel today that I didn't deal with? Don't solve it, just notice it. This clears your emotional inbox. 8. Use body cues, not brain cues. Slow breathing, relaxing your shoulders, warming your hands, all tell your brain you are safe. When your body relaxes, your mind follows. 9. Limit late-night scrolling. Your brain does not need more noise. Nighttime social media tricks your mind into feeling unsafe or behind. 10. Make your room feel like a signal of quiet. Dim lights, cooler temperature, soft environment. Your brain needs sensory cues to switch modes. These strategies work because they do something simple. They calm the emotional brain while reactivating the logical brain, not by force, not by ignoring emotions, but by helping your brain feel safe enough to rest. And when your brain feels safe, the overthinking stops.